Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you would like me to do for future guitar and music-related videos. So today, Epiphone announced a new Nancy Wilson signature Fanatic guitar. Technically, this is a Gibson Nighthawk, or Epiphone Nighthawk, but they're putting a different spin on it. This is an Epiphone exclusive. That means that this is not a Gibson version. This is specifically an Epiphone Fanatic. It is actually its own model. It is no longer technically the Nighthawk, even though it basically is just a Nighthawk. So let's start with the whole Gibson Nighthawk thing. As you can see, same shape over here. Basically, this was introduced in the early 90s, around 93, and it was very different than a Les Paul. While the wood was the same, everything else about it wasn't, as you can see from this picture if I pull it up. So basically, the reason it's so different is the shape's a little different. You have a tremolo, that's right, that's like your kind of standard Fender tremolo. Some leads have a tremolo, some don't. You got three pickups in here. You got a mini humbucker, a single coil, and a sideways uh, humbucker. You have a 5-way blade switch and a 25.5-inch scale length, which is, I think, why a lot of people didn't originally buy these. It was just too different. You know, you think of Gibson, you think 24 3/4 scale length. I don't think the pickup configuration threw anybody off. I think the scale length threw a lot of people off on this because I know me personally, I am definitely a fan, more of a fan of the Gibson scale length than I am of the Fender scale length, the 25.5. And they put, I mean, you can find guitars in both those scale lengths very easily. I think Paul Reedsmith and I believe it's Music Man do a straight 25, so I'd probably be comfortable with that too. One of these days I need to pick up a Paul Reedsmith again. But I think it just threw a lot of people off, so it wasn't really popular. They kind of discontinued it. Then they brought it back in 2009 and people like it. But what I thought was interesting is if you are unfamiliar with Nancy Wilson, she is like the rhythm guitarist, backup singer, and occasionally lead singer of Heart. Um, if you're not familiar with the band Heart, we'll pull them up really quick. I'm sure you've heard a few of their songs: Magic Man, Crazy on You, Ooh, Barracuda. That song, you know, What About Love, Never, All I Want to Do is Make Love to You, These Dreams, and Alone. You know, they're definitely more of a 70s, 80s band, but I do enjoy me some Heart. Let's be honest, I enjoy me some Heart. I enjoy me some Nancy Wilson, and it is just all good fun times. But let's take a look at this guitar. I'm going to scroll up so you can get some better images of it here off of Sweetwater. And it's an Epiphone Nighthawk. It's got the new headstock. It's called the Fanatic, so technically it's not a Nighthawk. Let's see here. You got the nice. This is also different, which I love when Gibson does comfort carves, because who doesn't enjoy a nice comfort carve? I've always loved these things. I've never been able to play one. I've always kind of wanted one. Comes with a nice hard shell case there too. And $529, you know, that is definitely a price where everybody can afford that. Let's take a look at the specs on this so far. And it's got some solid specs too. So 6 strings right-handed, solid body. Nancy Wilson, a Fanatic. It's mahogany, figured maple. 9 out of 10, it's just a veneer. I don't think they would put a full maple top on this, but Epiphone does occasionally put a full maple top on things with a veneer on top of it. Gloss fireburst, rounded C, so you're probably looking at, you know, your standard 60 style neck. I've heard a lot of good things from the new Epiphone necks. They all used to be D shapes. It was generic D shape across the board. Ebony, that is definitely interesting. I do love me the split pearloid, I can speak pearloid parallelograms, 22 frets, and there you go, your 25.5-inch scale length. That'll unfortunately scare some people away from it. This is a lighter guitar too, so it's not going to be as heavy as a Les Paul. Graph Tech nut is nice. Hardtail. Enjoy a hardtail. String through body is always nice to have. I do enjoy a string through body. You got your Pro Beckers, which are pretty decent. Hard shell case included, and this one is just a 3-way toggle switch, which makes sense because you just got the 2 humbuckers there. But it's the scale length for me. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I might pick one of these up if I can get a hold of one at my local guitar center or something. But just for gear wise, just so you know, she is a woman. I'm not dissing women playing guitar. I think it's fantastic. But she doesn't like the heavy stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can see, she's playing an SG here. This is like a Les Paul copy, a Washburn, Les Paul Jr., another SG. Does have a flying V, so I know some of those can be pretty hefty. She's got a Paul Reed Smith, Epiphone Les Paul Ultra. She a couple of different other things, and then Nighthawk special as well. But it is interesting to see a Nighthawk. You just don't see them that often. They are different looking guitars. The specs on this are pretty much Les Paul-y. It's going to sound a little bit different because you got the 25 and a half inch scale length, along with the slanted humbucker. You don't see a lot of slanted humbuckers unless you're like Eddie Van Halen. So it may be a little bit of a problem buying replacements for this. I know some people are not a fan of the Epiphone pickups. The newer ones I personally like. I don't think I'd even replace them in a guitar like this. Same with the mini humbucker. I'd probably leave it alone. But the older Epiphones, oh, woof. Let me tell you, talk about mudbuckers. These things are awful. I think I showed you the demo between a Les Paul 100 a while ago. Les Paul 100. I think it was the first video I put on this channel because it got so many views on my anime channel. And the Les Paul Standard, and the pickups in the Les Paul 100 were just, it sounded so much better to me than the pickups in the Epiphone Standard. And at least I have Seymour Duncans in it, so I may do a new demo with that guitar. I need to restring it too, so maybe I'll do a restringing video and then a demo with it, because I was pretty lazy with it. I didn't rip out the electronics. All the electronics are stock. The only thing that's different is the pickups. At one point, if I feel the need, I may finally go through the entire thing, replace all electronics, CTS potch, do my push-pulls, because the Seymour Duncans I have do it, switchcraft, switchcraft input jack. But for now, it sounds and plays fine, so I'm not really going to bother. But this is something, if you want something different, it's got that nice little curvaceous, womanly figure, if we go back to this part of it. Nighthawk's first signature, the Hearts guitarist's first Epiphone signature, I should say. So she has done Gibson signatures. This is her first Epiphone signature. And they introduced one in 2013 for her. So it's going to be similar to the Gibson. Obviously, it's a copy of the Gibson. And I think the weirdest factor that I saw is this little kind of tidbit right here. You can actually look at a video of her describing the guitar and like the more womanly features of it. In the midst of the distant 80s, I was approached by Gibson to design a signature model, Wilson said, of the guitar in a statement. I put a pencil to paper to first design the body and chose a curvy female diminutive silhouette for the cutaway. Many years later, the body shape remains exact, and the hardware I requested makes the Fanatic a solid citizen amongst the great rock guitar screamers. So it is a possibility that she designed the original Nighthawk in the 90s. They gave her a prototype. She messed with it a little bit, wasn't 100% on it, and then it didn't go anywhere. So there's no mention in the Wikipedia page at all of her, of Nancy here, Wilson, besides talking about the signature Nighthawk back in 2013. But it would be interesting to see if she was the one that ultimately designed the Nighthawk, a guitar that is very controversial in the 90s. And it's one of those guitars where a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. But maybe I'll do some more research on that and see if she was actually the one that designed the Nighthawk. But go check out her signature guitar, decent price, a lot of good stuff coming out now. I want to do a video specifically on this because this is one of those guitars that kind of touched my heart, one of those musicians that kind of touched my heart, literally heart, haha. So let me know what you think in the comments down below of this guitar. Did Nancy actually design the Nighthawk? That's something I want to know. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.